Lavell, thank you so much for making time for us. How are you, sir?
I'm doing well. Thank you guys for having me.
The confluence of bridging culture and capital is really interesting to us. This show's been on the air for 30 some odd years. I hate to say on radio, it's embarrassing to say how old we were when we started the show. It's been on TV for the last 20. But I don't think I've never heard bridging culture and capital. Talk about what you guys do. I think it's really interesting.
Well, yeah, thank you. So I think the best way is to say what we started. For the past several years, my co-founder and I, well, several years, probably 2018, we've been singularly focused on building a platform that authentically connects brands with the Gen Z community. And, we proved that model. We developed something on the intersection of gaming, college sports, and social interaction. That did very well. We attracted some of the biggest partners like McDonald's, Coca-Cola, inked a pretty big partnership with Learfield, which is a billion-dollar conglomerate in college sports. And we did all that through building community. And I think now it's only fitting that our next chapter, with what we feel is a proven playbook, is to take that culture that we built and really drive it into a financial ecosystem. And that's in connection with the merger that we're doing.
Let's talk about specifics in terms of House of Doge and this type of thing, and talk about client base and customer base and so on and so forth for us.
Yeah, no, great thing. So how it started, we had a conversation with them. I kind of like what they were doing. A lot of people are doing, crypto is obviously really important. And I mean, I think it's a currency that's going to be there for a while. But what I liked what they were doing is they had the vision of creating a financial juggernaut. And that is something that I thought not a lot of people approach the market that way. Backed by obviously the Doge Foundation, backed by a $40 billion cryptocurrency. But the essence of what we're building now is really just a financial engine, the likes of, with payment processing like Visa and MasterCard, the likes of brand licensing like, Formula One, and asset management and tokenization, which I'm happy to dive into more of those, but almost like a BlackRock. So doing that is kind of the verticals of the revenues that they want to put on. And obviously Bragg House having, a pretty important role in that. We've already took the most loyal audience there was and gave them that adoption. And now we're doing that same thing, but on a global level. So we'll be able to kind of, shape that adoption of Dogecoin globally, more accepted through the models that I mentioned, and having college as the first entry point, to be honest.
Lavell Malloy II, Chief Executive Officer and co-founder of Bragg House, ticker symbol, oh. TBH. You went to lunch earlier today, I say. Good Lord.
I just want to use all the names that you said earlier because I was listening to you guys, and I'm like, some tickle simmer? That's all. That's all.
Hey, Lavell, I wanted to ask about, you're talking about connecting Gen Z specifically, and are you finding, because, I'm older along with these guys, and so the
You're
topic.
not even close.
I'm close. I'm.
You have socks. We have underwear that's older than you. I've got like 20 good summers left. You have like.
I have 25.
You have like 35. And of course, there's the Alpo years.
Yeah. Anyway, I wanted to ask you, because of my generation, I have a little bit skepticism when it comes to Dogecoin and cryptocurrency. So are you seeing that these younger generations, are you just skipping over our generation completely and you're focusing on them? Because I'm thinking their adoptability, their interest in this is, they don't question it as much as
Are you questioning it because of the lack of regulation or just because the lack of understanding?
I don't understand it at all.
Listen,
it's so cerebral to me.
Well, it's a fair sort of concern because if you really think about it, a lot of people can think in terms of Ethereum, Bitcoin, Dogecoin as purchasing vehicles, which they may be someday, but really right now, they're investment vehicles. And I think if you kind of separate the fact that we're using digital currency anyway, because you got the same $40 in your pocket you have for the last 6 months anyway, then unless you're tipping a valet, we're still in the digital currency. But you're right to be skeptical about it, because I think it's hard to kind of put your finger on what it actually does.
Like, really. I use Venmo, and I love Venmo. But then I see now that cryptocurrency is in there, and that's an option for me. And I think, why am I having a hard time going here to crypto when it's still just all in my phone? So like, I don't know. I guess my question is that, are you just gearing towards Gen Z because they are on board? It's been in their life since the beginning, kind of, right?
Yeah, no, that's an excellent question. And I would say the number one question that my wife asked.
Well,
She was like, I just don't- She was like, I don't get it. She was like, I just don't get it.
The number one question is when she needs somebody to say, are you going to the store? Which means you're going to the store.
Exactly.
Do you still have, no. So I think but a great question. And I think the best way to answer it is kind of twofold. One, I actually want to address what you said earlier about, that it's really kind of the statement that was cryptocurrency, but people, it's not really being used. It may be used that way in the future, that people can purchase things. That I think is a really important message because that's the goal.
Yeah.
The goal is to, a lot of people are bringing into leadership. Marco Maggiata, he just sold his company to Pfizer, one of the most brilliant, minds in payment processing. Paycor was his company. Because of that, we're bringing in Pfizer to really work on, or that team of people to really work on the payment processing thing. So taking that, just small part right there, because there's a lot of part, but payments is very huge. And if you can do that like a Visa, like a MasterCard, one of the partnerships we just announced was In Kind. In Kind, in short, gives access to over 5,000 restaurants. To think about a DoorDash or something like that. And you can use, they said, yes, we want to be the first to, or not the first, but we want to be able to use purchasing everything in our ecosystem.
What's interesting about that is, and look, Mary, I'm with you too. I'm completely on the same page.
And I'm gonna get back to you because I have a direct question.
Well, but to your point here, it's really surprising to me that we're having such a hard time with it because we're already doing it. I mean, we don't use cash.
Right.
And our currency is a fiat currency anyway. It's not backed by anything. It's backed by perception, as is all currency, with the exception of a very few currencies in this world. It's not backed by a gold standard or any other valuable standard. So it's sort of, to your point, you're talking about that, and to, not to interrupt you finishing Mary's question, but man, I just don't understand why we're having such a hard time adopting this, because we already have adopted the fact that this paper in our wallet is worth something based upon nothing other than the perceived notion that it is worth something, if you can wrap your head around that. So if you think it's worth it, it's worth it. So we just have to start thinking that Bitcoin, Ethereum, Dogecoin is worth it, and then we start spending it, right?
Well, also the other thing when you said, Mary, when you said about Venmo, Venmo and all these things, just think when that first came in, there was a lot of skepticism over Venmo, and then people sent, I can just send this to you and everything is safe, and it's also a social tool.
Yeah.
That made no sense to people when they first did it, but now, probably most people can't imagine life without Venmo of just saying, here, I'm going to do this now. But the direct answer that I wanted to get to, I think that background, and I agree 100% with that point, this is going to be something that people are going to be using often. But directly to your point, and I think there means two separate delineations. You are absolutely correct in that Gen Z is more adoptive into certain things. What I will argue is that even with that, and I'm sure everyone could attest to this, they're the hardest demographic to reach, which is why we've been so successful in our platform, because in essence, we designed something just for them to engage in. And then based on that, we're able to create ROIs and, having other brands and companies reach them. So that will be the first entry point, because we already have that community. But what I think that I like about this opportunity, is I'm going to continue in leadership, and also going to now have even more full autonomy with the vertical of just the college, is that we're now leading this adoption globally.
Yeah.
So it's everybody. It's not just the colleges. Colleges now become one vertical.
Yeah.
Leading this to everyone, and I think it's going to be really successful. And that was one of the things that I really liked about this merger.
Well, like 8 years ago, remember Dan Negroni said 75% of your employees are going to be millennial, and 75% of your customers are going to be millennial.
Right.
And now it comes down to 75% of your customers are going to be Gen X, Gen Y, Gen Z in the next 3 years. and as well customers and employees. It's interesting. We need to have you back.
Please.
And before I let you out of here today, let's talk real quickly in terms of you guys raised capital recently. Did I see that? Did I see you guys, or are you in the process of raising?
We raised $15 million.
$15 million. And what were the use of proceeds on that? Where did you guys? Is that just for operations? Is that still coming in? Is that in the bank? Talk about the health. Talk about the health of your company.
In the bank, I think generally it's for operations. While we were excited about this merger, obviously as a public company, our fiduciary duty is to continue with the best values of the shareholders. So that money, that raise, was very, very important to us because it pretty much fully funded all of the go-to-market, everything we needed in the college level. Expansion of technology, all the things we needed there. So there wasn't a specific use of funds other than operations and scalability and growth. But now that we have that, and we're going to have what we believe are we've already seen them come in, but some very, very robust revenue models immediately coming into TBH for shareholders, and then obviously directly flowing into what we're building out in the college level.
Hey, Lavell, before you get out of here, where are you from? Where are you guys located?
So we're located. Our main office is in New York. I moved upstate just briefly because just had a baby daughter.
Congratulations.
Hey.
Well, we got to get you to San Diego. I want you in studio, man. I got to have you.
I want to be there. You guys have too much fun out there. Please.
Lavell Malloy II, CEO, co-founder, Bragg House. Ticker symbol is TBH. Definitely want to spend more time with him here on The Big Biz Show. Speaking of The Big Biz Show, keep it here. Much more to come right after this.